The moon makes no light. None. Zero. Not a single spark of its own. It is just cold, dead rock floating in space. And yet, every clear night, it lights up the whole sky. So how does a dead rock glow? How does something that makes no light become the brightest thing in the night? And there's a second mystery. It keeps changing shape. One week, it's a big round full circle. The next week, it's just a thin little sliver. And sometimes it disappears completely. Nothing is cutting it, nothing is eating it. So, what on earth is actually going on up there? Here's the first clue. The moon isn't glowing on its own at all. It's being lit. Something is shining on it, and it's something you already know very well. The sun. The sun's light travels across space and hits the moon, and the moon simply reflects that light back to us. That's it. Sunlight bounces off the moon and reaches your eyes. The moon works exactly like a giant mirror in the sky. Think of a lamp in a dark room and a ball. One half of that ball is always lit. The other half is always dark. So far, that's pretty simple, right? But if the moon is always half lit, why do we see different shapes? Here's where it gets clever. The moon is orbiting the Earth. The sun always lights up one half of it. But as the moon moves around us, we see that lit half from different angles. And that angle is the whole secret. That is exactly what changes its shape. Let me show you how. Let's put the whole picture together, step by step. Remember the rule. One half of the moon is always lit by the sun. That never changes. The lit half is always there. What changes is where the moon sits on its path around the Earth. Start here, with the moon between us and the sun. From Earth, the lit side faces away from us completely, so we see nothing at all. This is called the new moon. The sky looks empty, but the moon is still there. Now the moon moves a little along its orbit. A thin sliver of the lit side turns toward us. That beautiful thin curve is the crescent moon. It keeps moving, and we see more and more of the lit half. When exactly half of the face is lit, we call it the first quarter. Half the disk glowing, half in shadow, split right down the middle. The moon keeps traveling, and even more light appears. Now most of the face is lit. This bulging shape is called gibbous, and then the moon reaches the far side of its orbit. Now, the Earth sits between the sun and the moon. The entire lit face turns straight toward us. A perfect glowing circle. This is the full moon. Then the whole thing reverses, night after night. The light slowly shrinks back from gibbous to half again, then down to a thin crescent on the other side, and finally back to new moon, and it all begins again. This full cycle takes about 29 and a half days. That's roughly 1 month. In fact, the word month comes from moon. Here's a lovely bonus. Look closely at a thin crescent. Sometimes you can faintly see the whole dark moon too. That soft glow is sunlight bouncing off Earth back onto the moon. It's called Earthshine. The Earth is lighting the moon just a little. So now you understand every single shape, but there's more up there. But wait, sometimes you can see the moon in broad daylight. You've definitely seen it. A pale, ghostly moon sitting in a bright blue sky. So why does that happen in the middle of the day? It's the exact same reflection. The sun is lighting it just the same. It's just harder to spot against all that bright daytime blue. Mystery solved. Now here comes the strangest part of all. The moon always shows us the very same face, night after night. We literally never see its back from Earth. Not ever, not once. There is a whole far side of the moon we simply cannot see from here. And that isn't a coincidence at all. There's a real reason behind it. How is that even possible? Here is a clever trick. Imagine walking in a full circle around a lamp while always facing it. You'd turn all the way around, yet always keep your face toward the light. The moon does exactly this. It spins once for every trip around the Earth. Its spin and its orbit are perfectly matched in time, locked together in step for as long as anyone can remember. And that lock is no accident either. Gravity built it slowly. Over billions of years, Earth's gravity gently squeezed and slowed the moon's spin, little by little until it settled into this perfect lock. We call it tidal locking. And there's one more thing people always ask about. Why does the moon sometimes look absolutely enormous near the horizon? That giant moon low in the sky even has a name, the moon illusion. Here's the twist. It's actually the exact same size, high up or low down. Your brain is simply fooled by the trees and buildings on the horizon. You can even prove it yourself. Hold your thumb up and measure it. Do it low, then do it high. Same size every time. So tonight, when you look up at that soft silver glow, remember what you're really seeing. That light is pure sunlight. It traveled from the sun, bounced off the moon, and landed in your eyes. A giant mirror quietly hanging in the sky. But where did it all come from? But hold on. We know how the moon shines. But what is it really? Let's get a little closer and really look at it. Here's the first surprise. The moon is far. Really, really far away. You can line up around 30 Earths in the gap between us and it. That's a genuinely enormous distance to picture. Even a fast rocket takes about 3 days to get there. And the moon itself is smaller than most people imagine, and you could fit almost 4 moons across the width of the Earth. But here's the real question. Where did the moon even come from? To answer that, we go back around 4.5 billion years. Back then, another young planet was wandering through our neighborhood. It was roughly the size of Mars and it was heading straight for us. And then, it slammed right into the early Earth. A cosmic crash almost too big to imagine. The impact blasted a huge amount of molten rock out into space. That debris didn't fly away, it began circling the Earth in a glowing ring. Slowly, over time, all those pieces started clumping together, and they merged bit by bit into a single new world. That new world was our moon, born from the wreckage of a collision. Back then, it sat much closer to the Earth than it does today. And here's the wild part. It's still slowly drifting away from us. About a few centimeters. Every single year. So the soft light you see tonight came from an ancient, violent crash. Now, let's bring the whole story together. So here's the real truth about the moon all in one place. It's a mirror. It makes no light of its own, not a single spark. It shines only because the sun is constantly shining onto it. Its changing shapes are just angles as it orbits around our Earth, from new to crescent to full and all the way back again. And through it all, it always shows us that same familiar face. Once you truly see it this way, every piece finally clicks together. So the next time you step outside and look up at the moon, you won't just see a plain glowing rock in the dark. You'll see sunlight that traveled all the way across space bouncing gently back to you. The same light that warms your skin by day, softly lighting your night. It's a whole new way to look at something so ordinary and so familiar. But honestly, this is only the beginning of the story. Because eclipses and even the ocean tides come from all of this too. And that's coming next. So tell me, out of everything today, what surprised you the most? Drop it in the comments below. I honestly read them all. And if you'd like more of these, subscribe and come back. Keep looking up.